let's hope I don't have to do the whole login thing. Brilliant. Got the chat open. Weather is unbearably hot again today, like 36-37 degrees Celsius, and humid as fuck. How's the weather where you are? Got good weather? Well, all the weather could be good. Good morning, Jennifer. Good afternoon from South Africa, Republic of South Africa, Eden. Cold and getting ready to snow here. Would love a 3-card spread about what is coming to me this week if you have time. I do have time. That's what I'm here to do, is give away these 3-card readings. So, what was that? Would love to know what's coming to you this week. Cool. If you don't mind, I'm gonna roll the cigarette quickly, and then I'll draw your spread. Thank you for joining us, by the way, and welcome to the stream. I'm sure I've seen you here before, so welcome back. Maybe I'm mistaken, but your profile picture looks really familiar. When the weather is hot and stuffy like this, I miss the cold. And when it's cold and can't escape that cold no matter how many layers you put on, then I miss this heat. That's how it is, isn't it? Thank you so much for that recognition. I am your very favorite. I assume you mean very favorite reader. That's, yeah, it's very encouraging. It's encouraging to know that among all of the readers, the tarot readers and psychics out there, that there are people who consider me to be their favorite. Me too, I also love the snow and the cold. I do also enjoy hot weather. It means I can wear less clothes and can lay on the hammock outside under the trees in the evenings without freezing to death. Welcome back, Sahu. Good to see you. What is coming in this next week for Jennifer Kennedy? So your past interval is a 9 of discs reversed. So the 9 comes after, after making your adjustments. Discs is to do with physical reality, so that's fitness and career and health. So 9 comes after you've realized who you need to become and have made the decision to become who you need to be in order to see your goals realized, like recognizing lifestyle changes have to happen, or habits have to get cut out, things that don't serve you have to change and shift. That's 8, the adjustment period, and then 9 comes right after that. And 9 is self-reflection, looking back at where you were in the beginning and the progress you've made since then, seeing all the places that you failed and seeing all the places that you succeeded, and taking responsibility for both your failures and successes. Taking responsibility for the failures so that you don't repeat them, and taking responsibility for your successes so that you can reapply them as you move into a new period, a new cycle. And this card is reversed, telling me that you did not take responsibility for either during this period of self-reflection. That was since the beginning of this year. You came out of the shifting period and you did the self-reflection. You look back and like, oh my god, look at how much I've grown and improved since I started. But you didn't actually examine in detail your failures and successes. So the knowledge and the learnings that you can glean from that wasn't received and hasn't moved over into the present as that period of self-reflection closes. The card is only there just to remind you, just to point out that that's an important part of the process. You have to be aware of your successes so that you can reapply those methods. Have to be aware of your failures so that you don't repeat them. Your present interval is the Death card reversed, number 13 of the trumps. So in the present, you might be dealing with loss. It's typically an emotional injury, but could also imply physical injury, something going on with your health, or someone in your family who's dealing with health trouble. Apart from that, it could also represent the end of a relationship, recently coming out of a relationship, or in the present moment having separated, like right now going through a separation. It could also imply moving from one location to another, like moving homes, moving cities, or it could mean career ending, choosing to quit. Actually, the card is reversed, so that implies it's been forced on you by the environment, not something you've chosen of your own accord. So being fired, being evicted, being dumped, these are the kinds of things that the Death card reverse implies, and that's what you're dealing with right now. So the changes that come out of a Death card, the growth and the progress, it's always healthy. It's painful and difficult to go through, but when it comes from the environment, there isn't really much that we can do about it. Although the spread so far is saying that it could have been easier, it could have been an easier transition if the reflection period had been done in its completion, if you had recognized if you'd taken responsibility for both your successful endeavors and your failures. It could have been less painful once this Death card was reached. It could have been anticipated. It could have been just an easier integration and transition. So daughter just had a major surgery this week. Okay, so that's what we're talking about here. Well, then in that case, and only advice this card has for you is that the surgery and the result of it, whether it is, there could be complications, it could get worse, but whatever happens, even if it's positive, even if the change is positive and she gets better, it's going to completely destroy the whole old way of life. If she gets better, the way that you interact with her and her lifestyle, and thereby your lifestyle, is going to change completely. If she has to go for more treatments and surgeries, again, it's still going to be completely different period of life to the way it was before. The old way is destroyed by this Death card. This surgery has annihilated the old way of living, and an entirely new way of living is being born in the present. Future interval is the Hanged Man. It's reversed, number 12 of the trumps. So this card is saying that you basically have learned enough through the last year and the beginning of this year, and you've experienced enough. that you are strong enough to endure through whatever challenges or whatever suffering is still in front of you. The card is saying that what's opening up is a period of struggle and difficulty, resistance, and it might feel like setbacks and like you being slowed down from reaching your goals and like stagnation is happening, but that's not the case. It's you pushing through blockages in order to find breakthroughs and find abundance, applying creativity and ingenuity to overcome whatever kind of obstacles in front of you. And that card is saying that you have learned enough and you're strong enough, and that's why this is coming into your sphere. There are certain things you haven't been willing to face, haven't been willing to really take head on, certain blockages, certain communications, certain challenges that you've been putting to one side, certain emotional experiences that you've not been wanting to face. And now the universe is going to bring that all into your present moment. That's what's about to open up. All those things that have been neglected and ignored and pushed to one side are about to come flooding in. But it's only happening that way because you have learned enough and experienced enough and grown enough that you are now strong enough to go through it and make the breakthrough that's necessary. And that applies to both you and your daughter. So thank you very much, and that concludes your reading. Thanks for joining us today. Amazing. That's exactly what that future interval is saying, that you have grown enough and you know that there are some difficulties that you've been avoiding, but yeah, they're about to come flooding in, and the universe is only opening that floodgates because you have been recognized in your growth and your progress, and that you are now ready to face them. You're most welcome. Check in my chat to see who is next. What changes are coming in my life in the next 3 months? Cool. And then Rocky ML, welcome back. Good to see you again. Your question is, how is 2022 for family life, career, financial? Cool, I'll get to that bridge when... I'll try and make sense of that comment when I get there. What changes are coming for Sahu in the next 3 months? Welcome, Rajni. It's good to see you again. When will you get a new job? Thank you for your question. Okay, Sahu, you've got a Prince of Swords in the position of your past. It's reversed. So basically that card is saying that since 2022 began, you have been through a lot of suffering. You feel like there are all of these insurmountable objects, all these insurmountable blockages. What is the word I'm looking for? Stumbling blocks. Yeah, stumbling blocks, resistances, issues that are getting in the way of you and your purpose. And yeah, it feels oppressive. It has felt oppressive, like you're not making breakthroughs, like you're not getting anywhere. However, that's since the beginning of 2022. But right now, as you're moving into the present, there's hope. You feel like you're right on the precipice, and you could any moment see the breakthrough that you've been looking for, and finally overcome all of those obstacles and all of that suffering. Really break through it. The reason you've been going through this is because those challenges and those blockages that you've been experiencing are things that you've been putting off and avoiding and didn't want to face. So 2022, the universe saw you and was like, okay, you've grown enough, it's time for you to face these things, and therefore gave you no choice and put you through that suffering so that you could evolve and make the breakthrough that was necessary. And that period is now coming to a close. You're about to make that breakthrough. In the present, I see a number 8 of the trumps. It's called adjustment. So this card is about recognizing who you need to become and what's actually required of you in order to find your breakthrough. So this period of suffering is now coming to a close, and you're looking again at your purpose, and you're like, okay, whatever I want is within my grasp. I can reach out and get it. And then simultaneously recognizing yourself and saying, okay, if I want that thing, I'm going to have to change in this way and that way, and cut these people out of my life, and cut these habits out of my life, and change this aspect of my lifestyle. Just recognizing the things that have to shift, and all the things that no longer serve you from old cycles that need to change if you really want to get whatever it is that you're setting for yourself as purpose. A note on purpose is that it's not divinely given to you. It's when you recognize what your heart desires and you start applying your will to manifest it, then you are existing within your purpose. And yeah, that card is just there to point out that there are shifts that need to happen in order for you to become the person that you need to be. There's a certain aspect of you that can have the desires that you want, and there are certain negative aspects of you that keep you away from it. So that card is you recognizing and making the decision to cut those things that don't serve your purpose out of your life. And that's what's happening for you in the present. Future interval. It's number 4 of the trumps reversed, the Emperor. So basically, in regards to your question, which is what's happening for me the next 3 months, what you are seeing in your mind, what you'd like to happen, what you'd like to see happen for you in the next 3 months is, like you said, always manifesting. It's up to you to manifest what's going to happen for you in the next 3 months. And number 8 is saying that there are shifts that need to happen before that manifestation can happen the way you want it to be. The way you want your 3 months to look, the next 3 months, the kind of progress you want to see, the kind of outcomes you want to see, the manifestations you want to see. There are shifts to your lifestyle and habits and character and the people that you interact with that needs to shift and change in order to see those manifestations happen. And future interval, which is the 4 of the trumps reversed, it's talking about, it's kind of a warning and a suggestion. First of all, it's warning you that there are masculine archetypes in your life that are not healthy examples. The masculine influence, your fatherly, the way you perceive a father, the way you perceive God as a masculine divine, the way you perceive partners, the aspects that you're attracted to in the masculine character are to your detriment. The kinds of people, the kinds of men that you've been attracted to and been in relationships with, including father figures, it has always been to your detriment. It repeats the cycle because you keep looking for the same character traits. That's the warning that the card has. It's saying basically there's going to be more men like that who are going to come into your sphere. There might be exciting feelings that make you want to jump into relationships with them. And so the card is there. The warning is that that's just repeating old cycles, and yeah, don't fall for it. Don't fall into the trap, regardless of what the feelings tell you to do. Exercise your authority based on the purpose that you're setting, based on your manifestations. So the suggestion that the card has is that you remain within your authority, and authority looks like you taking action to accomplish your goals. So having a routine set, like you're saying, these activities I can do throughout the day, I can take this action, I can do this thing, and all of these things bring me closer to my manifestation, and they create the 3 months, they create that future vision of the next 3 months that I'm hoping for, that I'm trying to manifest. And sticking to it and being flexible with it, and not allowing the possibility for relationships with new men, and listening to the teachings of fools, people who don't know you or what you've been creating for yourself or what you want for yourself, not listening to their unsolicited advice, not falling for their flattery, etc. Staying focused on what you're creating for yourself over the next 3 months. That's the warning that card has. The card is warning you not to repeat the same cycle. It's saying that men are going to come up. The possibility for relationships with men is going to come up. The possibility for reconciliation with old masculine archetypes is going to come up, and all of this is distraction. All of this is going to take you away from what you're manifesting. So don't fall into it, because that'll just cause old cycles to repeat. Stay on track with what you're doing and your routine and your structure. Don't fall for any of the distractions that come in, especially from men. That is how you it's not saying don't trust anybody, It's saying be aware. If you see people, notice their character, notice how similar they are to the men who have been in your life that have abused you and have betrayed you. If you find someone who does not correspond with those character traits, by all means trust them and allow a relationship to form. Just notice when they are demonstrating the same patterns and the same character as people you have been in relationships with. And that concludes your reading. So, Raki ML, are you in the chat? Because you are next in line. Do you remember, Sahu, the last time you came into the chat, I told you not to take him back because if you did, he would cheat on you again? Well, so if you took him back and he cheated on you again, then that's kind of your own fault. You really need to cut ties and distance yourself from abusive men. You really need to do that. Otherwise, you're literally just going to keep on repeating this cycle. Don't hope for new persons coming into your life. Focus on yourself. Focus on developing your life. Don't look for other people. Focus on your life and creating something for yourself. That's how you break the old cycle. When you have stepped into your power and things are manifesting the way you've seen them, then you will meet someone. They will come into your life naturally. Don't hope for it. Don't look for it. Don't seek it out. Don't cast spells for it either. Don't manifest a partner because that will just bring the old cycle back. That's what you've been doing the whole time. You manifest a partner, he comes back, he cheats on you. You manifest a partner, he comes back, he cheats on you. Same cycle. Don't do it again. Just don't do it again. Just make that decision not to do it again. Amazing. Focus on yourself. Amazing. Raki is here. Okay, so once a reading on 2022 for family and career. Welcome to the chat, Mary Pierre. Your question, which you put in earlier, automatically adds you to the queue. I am answering the questions in the order that they are asked. So first come, first serve. You'll have to just have patience. Thank you. Welcome, Rabia. And you're most welcome, Sahu. Thank you for joining us today. What does Raki's 2022 family life and career look like? Yes, please, Rabia, you may ask a question. Your question adds you to the queue. So, Raki, your past interval is the Queen of Wands reversed. And this card talks about overzealousy. So, Queen energy is like, I have a desire, and so I'm going to make it happen for myself. I want, whatever it might be, I want something, so I make it real. And when the card is reversed, it talks about being too passionate about it. There's no such thing as too passionate, but when you're communicating with people, if you're expressing too much energy and too much excitement, it can push them away. It can scare them. It can intimidate them. It can be frightening. This card, so the tiger is often a symbol of fear, the leopard and the tiger. And in this card, the queen is holding the tiger in her hand. She's kind of like wielding fear. That's what the Queen of Wands reverse talks about. It's like too much passion, too much intensity in the way you're communicating your intentions and your desires, so much that it's frightening for people and intimidating and pushes them away. And this card is coming up just to bring that to the surface so that you can recognize it. You can look back at how, at the beginning of 2022, from 2022 until now, from January the 1st until now, January the 14th, about how this, you can see where this frequency has been in your life, where you've done this, where you've communicated too much, too intensely, too passionately, and frightened people and daunted people with it. And it only wants you to be aware of it so that you can switch it up a little bit and you can be more considerate, more passive, and more subtle in your communications. Because, I mean, it's not the end of the world to push people away with your intensity. If they can't handle the fire, they must get the fuck out, you know? But when you communicate your desires, you give people the opportunity to support your process and help your intentions become true. So if you're communicating subtly and gently and inspirationally rather than intimidating, then it leaves more room for support to grow. It leaves more room for a support structure to develop. And that's the only reason that card is showing itself up. Present interval is the Queen of Discs reversed. So this card is saying that in the present moment, you are in an oasis. It's a symbol saying like the world is a desert right now. Everything is falling apart and going to shit. Everything is just sand, barren, unfertile land everywhere that you look. But you're seated in an oasis. You've got this little place of security and abundance that you're living in. And this card is showing itself to warn you that there's a little bit of greed. You want so much in the present moment that you're reaching further than is healthy. You're putting your oasis at risk, basically. The world is a desert, and any kind of interference can turn that oasis you've got into a desert as well. So the card just wants to warn you to manage greed. You can have desires and you can reach for them. That is acceptable. You can, if you share of your value to the world around you, the world will share value with you and your oasis will grow. But if you try and take from the world around you that's already barren, it will decimate your oasis. So just be mindful of greed. That's what that card is saying. If I have to bring it down to one thing, the card is saying be mindful of greed. Don't reach too far. Within reason, with other people's interests at heart, more than just your own. Otherwise, you put your oasis at risk. You put your security at risk. And that's what that card has to say. Future interval is the 10 of discs. Amazing card. So what this card is saying for you is that your 2022 looks like you reaping the benefits and the harvest and the rewards of all of the efforts you've made in the last couple of years. All the seeds you've been sowing, all the investments of time and energy and resources that you made into people and into your purpose and into your career life and into your family, all of the seeds and all of the positive things that you've invested. That could be money, that could be time, and it doesn't necessarily have to be like investment into a business. Investments, when you support someone, if someone you know, someone who is close to you is in need and you give them money or you support them by buying services from you, that's investment. And so all of the investments of time and energy and money that you have made into the people in your life and into the systems in your life and into your own career in the past, all the investments you've made, this year looks like you're reaping the returns on all those investments. So the only advice that card has for you is that you must focus on that. Focus on reaping those rewards, and as you do, remember to sow new seeds. Remember to continue to support, continue to help lift people up, continue to just be an open ear for people to talk to listen, someone to give to that they can come to for advice on their health, advice on their finances, advice on their security. And remember to take advice when people are giving it, because that advice that they're giving is the rewards. It's part of the rewards that you're going to be reaping this year. And so everything that you have set out to accomplish, all the things that you've invested in and committed to in the past, all of those things are going to be coming to fruition for you in 2022 with regards to your family life and with regards to your career. So thank you so much for joining me today. That concludes your reading. Thank you for your question, Rabia. And your question adds you to the queue. Welcome, Sarabani. It's good to meet you. It's good to have you in the stream. Thank you for your subscription. Thank you for your like. You can add yourself to the queue by just going ahead and asking a question. Thank you so much. Next in the queue is Rajna Yadav. Rajni, if you're still here, please let me know. You're up next for a reading. Just want to let you know, guys, every like, every share, every subscription, every donation, these things are extremely valuable to me. So please, if you feel like you want to give some value back in return for the spreads that you've received, or the interpretations from the spreads, please like, please subscribe, please share, please follow. You can check out my other platforms, and if you're by the means, a donation is most appreciated. Thank you so much. So, Rajni has left the chat, as usual. Welcome back, Shayoti. I'm doing well, thank you. How are you? So next in my queue is Marie Pierre on Facebook. Mary Pierre. Asking, when will I receive my job, and is this friend that I'm talking to a genuine friend? So Mary, if you're still here, please let me know. Oh, amazing. Thank you for your confirmation. And welcome, gifts, please. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to House Kerr. Yeah, to join the queue, you just go ahead and ask a question, and that automatically adds you to the queue. I answer the questions in the order that they appear in the chat, first come, first serve. So as soon as you have a question, you're on the list for a reading. Next up in my queue is Mary Pierre. And thank you, Srabani, for your question, asking when will I get married. Your question means you're in the queue. So reading for Mary is up next. When will Mary receive her job? And is this new connection a genuine friend? Past interval is a 3 of Swords reversed. 3 is a number of awareness. It's like light, knowledge, wisdom, becoming aware of things. It's just like having things illuminated into understanding. And Swords is about purpose. So this card is reversed. It's saying that you recently became aware, like 2022, since the start of 2022, you've become aware of who you need to be and what's required of you if you want to see your purpose realized. And it was daunting, it was like overwhelming, the realization of what's actually necessary for you if you want to see your purpose become a true reality for yourself. It was daunting, almost like too big for you, like, hey, that's a lot, I'm gonna have to really, the person I need to become and what I have to do on a daily basis is a lot more than I anticipated, and it was kind of overwhelming and daunting, frightening. But it's coming to a close. You are integrating with that knowledge, you're accepting it, and you're starting to make the changes. You're recognizing that if you don't start making the changes and start making the shifts and start applying your authority, you'll never get there. So even if your shifts are small at first, you're starting to make them, and that's encouraging to see. In the present, we have a Knight of Discs reversed. So this card is saying that you recently, or you have applied for jobs, or you've tried to apply your creativity to secure yourself financially. Basically, this card is talking about a rebirth in your career and your health and the way that you interact with your physical environment. It's a rebirth in the physical environment. It's specifically talking about career. You're asking, when will you receive your job? This card is saying perhaps you need to let go of the idea of getting that job and apply for other jobs. Maybe consider a side hustle. A side job, side source of income. Basically, what you have been doing up until this point is dead. It's died. There's no potential there anymore. You're going to need to give birth to some new form of income, some new way of securing yourself. That's what that card is saying. In the present moment, allowing the way that you have been interacting with your career, the way you have been interacting with your security, let go of it now because it's died. There's no more potential within it. You need to give birth to new sources of income and apply your creativity to creating a new way of securing yourself. It also is saying that that is nothing to do with you. You didn't do anything wrong to end up in this place of all the potential of what you had been doing dying. That had nothing to do with you. It's the world and the environment and uncontrollable, unforeseen events that have made it that way, that have destroyed the old way of securing yourself. But it is up to you on how you will manage it going forward. So future interval is number 3 of the trumps. I mean, not number 3, number 8 of the trumps. I don't know why I said 3. It's called adjustment. And this is you changing your habits and your lifestyle in order to create a balance between income and expense. So we're seeing a rebirth in your finances and your financial reality right now. What's opening up for you is you making some changes to yourself, making some changes to your habits, cutting out old habits that don't serve you, making changes to your lifestyle, realizing that the way you were living with your old income is not going to work for you as you're building something new from scratch. You're going to have to make some changes to the way you spend, to the way you save, because new sources of income means a new state of balance. The old expenses are going to outweigh the current income, and so some changes are going to need to happen in order to make sure that income and expense balance and you don't go into debt. So that's what's opening up for you, and it's something that you're going to realize and integrate of your own accord, and it's healthy. It's a good thing. You're going to get on top of this career shift that's going on for you. Basically, what's opening up for you is you arriving in balance and really taking initiative to get on top of things and make sure that everything is balanced for you going forward. And that concludes your reading. So thank you for joining me today. As I was saying earlier, please support me by liking and following and sharing. All of those things are invaluable, and if you by the means, a donation is much appreciated. Thank you, but entirely optional. And welcome, Queen of Wands. It's good to see you back. You are most welcome to join the queue. Just please ask a question to do so. As soon as your question is in the chat, you are in the queue, so please go ahead and ask a question. And then Gifts Please says, my question is, since I'm single and don't have a set boyfriend, it's hard for me to connect with a new career. I feel like Elijah, my last findings didn't give me any hope for the future security. Can you clarify? Regards, Lauren. Yeah, the tarot didn't say anything about your friend, and yeah, you kind of did ask 2 questions, so you can't blame the tarot for ignoring one of them. Welcome, A.V. Morgan. Thank you for joining us again. It's good to see you. As you know, you just ask a question to join the queue. As soon as your question's in the chat, you're in the queue. I don't understand what you mean, Sahu. So after Mary was Rabia Z. So Rabia Z, are you still here? Oh, there we go. With the confirmation of your question, does Mr. K truly love me? Nice. So that is the next reading. Oh, Sarabani, new subscriber who asked a question. No, I haven't gotten there yet. I'm still busy with... I'm about to do Rabia's reading, and then after that it looks like... Yeah, Sarabani will be after Rabia. Rabia's next, and then is Sarabani. Excuse me. That's amazing, Sahu. It's amazing that she's your friend. Thank you so much for recommending me to your friends. I very much appreciate that word of mouth marketing and support. A.V. Morgan, if you've asked a question, you are in the queue.
Would you like me to open the door?
No, thank you.
Like a sauna.
It is like a sauna in here, but if you open the door, then the wind completely fucks with my stream. Does Mr. K truly love Rabia? So past interval is the 5 of Wands reversed. It's difficult for me to make sense of how this relates to your question, but I will read it as and interpret it as I understand it. 5 is about applying yourself to your maximum potential, and this is with regards to your intentions and your desires. And this could be talking about Mr. K, it could be talking about you, but intentions and desires for a relationship or for life in general, applying himself or yourself to the maximum that you can, but thinking you can go further than you actually can, thinking you have more knowledge or experiences or resources than you actually do, not realizing that your limitations, not realizing that there are limitations on how much you know and how much you have at your disposal, that what you are trying to reach for and what you desire and the intentions you're setting are outside of the reach of those resources and that knowledge. Present interval is the 9 of Swords. And this card, it tells me that you are going through, both of you are going through self-reflection. You have set purpose for yourself. You have been working on something, a goal of your own. You've got goals that you're working towards, and he's got goals that he's working towards. And in the present moment, both of you are trying to make sense of whether or not this relationship that you're developing is going to work for your individual goals. Like, are your goals and your dream, is it compatible with this man? Is it compatible with that relationship? Will you be able to nurture that relationship and still find and still manifest your dreams? And that's something that you guys are both dealing with at the moment. So this card is not saying to me yes or no, he loves you truly. Love is the choice. You go into a relationship choosing to love a person and choosing to demonstrate love to that person. The symptoms of love being things like patience and peace and compassion and understanding, and choosing to demonstrate those things, that's love. Love is not the feelings. Feelings are fleeting, they come and go. Infatuation is not love. But anyway, this card is saying that both of you are trying to understand if you are actually compatible with one another, looking back on past relationships, seeing how you were able to be successful with your dreams in relationships, and seeing if that looks like something that's possible with this present relationship, looking back on past relationships, seeing where the relationship and the dynamics of the relationship took you away from your dreams, and checking to see if this relationship in the present looks anything like that, if there is a risk of that. And that's a good idea to do that self-reflection. But the truth and the honesty of this relationship is that he doesn't have the authority to bring you away from your goals. You alone have that authority. And similarly, you don't have the authority to bring him away from his goals. He alone has that authority. If you were in a relationship and you felt like that relationship was separating you from your dreams and making it impossible for you to have what you're reaching for, then you gave the relationship that authority. You justified giving up your dreams in order to people please, in order to please your partner. So it's all about choice. It's all about what you're prepared to sacrifice and what you're prepared to nurture. And love is also a choice. And then the question becomes, is this character abusive? Is this character supportive? And that is all that really matters. Future interval is a 9 of discs, and this one is reversed. So this card is saying that what is opening up is justification. Like going into this relationship and then feeling like you have no security. It's basically talking about giving up your security to someone who does not take responsibility for themselves. So that is you and it is him. Neither of you is quite ready to take responsibility for your lack of security. When you have finances, spending them on things you don't need, spending them, not being able to balance income with expense. Basically, that card is saying not taking responsibility for that fact, rather looking to blame it on other people and other things, saying, oh, it's so expensive in the shops, that's why I've got no money. Oh, you have a tendency to eat more than you need, so you're to blame for the lack of finances. Basically, this card is saying that as you move forward, what's opening up for you is loss. It's losing out. It's having less. It's giving out more than you're receiving, and that is because of your own lack of responsibility, your own inability to take responsibility for the negative aspects of your character or your impulsive behavior. And that's not you exclusively. Both of you are in this place of lacking responsibility, lacking self-responsibility. So that card is saying to me that this relationship is a terrible idea. Until you are secure on your own and able to secure yourself, you should not be looking for relationships or trying to get into relationships. And that is your reading concluded. So thank you for joining. Remember that love is a choice. Mary, if you would like me to answer a second question, you will have to send a donation. One question, one free reading per person per stream. Next is Shrabani Pradhan. Shrabani on YouTube asking when she will get married. Please let me know if you are in the chat. You're up next. Shrabani, you are next in line for reading. Good morning and good afternoon, Jano. Welcome back. It's good to see you. Your question adds you to the queue. Thank you for confirming that you are still here, Shrabani. When will Shrabani be married? Past interval, present interval, and future interval. Past interval is 9 of discs reversed. Not reversed, the right way around. So this is self-reflection. It talks about observing your process, observing your security, looking back on 2021 and seeing where you damaged your own security, where you made yourself insecure in your finances, and where you sabotaged your health. Also observing where you did well and where you made breakthroughs with your health and where you made breakthroughs with your security. And that is a good thing, because if you can acknowledge your faults, then you don't repeat them. If you can acknowledge your success, you can reapply that method for success in the future. So that's a great card. Well done. It is very easy to self-justify and to refuse to take responsibility for our mistakes, but this card is saying that you did it well. you took responsibility and you looked at ways that you can avoid making mistakes, and you looked at ways that you can reapply your success, and that is really beautiful to see. Queen of Discs is your present interval. So this card is saying to me that you have found a space of security. You desired it, you had this desire to be secure, financially secure, and have good health, and so you reached for it and you claimed it, and in this presence you are acknowledging it. You're looking around you and seeing that others who didn't reach out for it, they're all in desolation, they're all struggling, but you have found this little oasis of security, and you're sharing that with your close friends and your close family. You're helping them out, giving them advice, supporting them in their business adventures, and thereby also receiving support from them, and that interaction and co-creation helps to keep your oasis secure. That's also a very beautiful card. So the only advice that this card has for you is that you should not be looking for more than what you have, should not be trying to get more out of life, not trying to take more from the environment. And that's specifically in regards to your question about marriage. So if you are engaged, then wait for it to happen. If you are in a relationship, wait for it to happen. Trying to force it to happen or focusing too much of your energy on it, that is greed, and it will, if you focus on that greed and you try and chase after that greed, you will destroy the little oasis of security that you have. It will fall into ruin and it will become part of the desert that's around you. So that card is encouraging you just to be content and satiated within the security that you have, within the state of being that you're currently living in. If you're in a relationship, just be grateful for your partner. If you are engaged, be grateful for that and wait. Just trust the universe is going to bring your marriage into fruition. If you chase after it or you try and force it, you risk losing your security, you risk losing your relationship. Future interval is the Queen of Wands. So what's opening up for you is you're going to be given the opportunity to actually start setting intentions and manifesting your desires. So if your desire is for marriage, basically this card is saying that the universe and your partner or they're going to give you the opportunity to start setting intentions for what you desire, whatever it might be. If you can just accept your present and be grateful for your present, you will find that the universe is very much ready to give you what you want, and then you can start working towards it. It'll give you the opportunity to manifest what you want, and that's what will open up for you. If you can be content with what you have currently, then the universe will see that and will give you the opportunity to set intentions for what you desire. And that concludes your reading. So thank you very much for joining. Yeah, please, I know you already subscribed, so thank you so much for that subscription and the like. I just need to go to Facebook so I can block this scammer. Welcome, Chandrai. Welcome back. It's good to see you. Such a slow computer. But then it is the weather actually that does that. Let's see how that has affected the chat. You can't see me. I wonder what has happened. So last night my cell phone charger was completely annihilated. So I'm borrowing one and it doesn't seem to be working. I think my battery has died. I'm gonna check for you, but I think that's what's happened. Trying to just confirm who is next in line for a reading. Next in line would be gifts, please. I'm gonna have a look and see what's going on with that camera. No video connection. So weird that it hasn't died or anything like that. I have no idea what's going on. But I'll see what I can do, guys. See what I can do. Okay. Still no video connection? What's going on? Okay, seems like it's back. It is. Don't know what went on there, but anyway. Gift says he can see and hear me. Well, that's great to know. Yeah, and now I'm very confused, guys. I have no idea what you guys are talking about. Because that camera said it was disconnected. So, you shouldn't have been able to see anything except a frozen screen. Don't know what was going on. Nothing has changed in the setup except the charging cable. So I have no idea why it froze. Okay, excuse me again, I need to block more scammers. It's too bad that Facebook doesn't like update automatically. Like the comments thread does not update automatically. It's so frustrating. I'm gonna have the entire esoteric community blocked at some point. Okay, so your question Since you're single and don't have a set boyfriend, it's hard for me to connect with a new career. I feel like Elijah, my last fling didn't give me any hope for future security. Can you clarify? And then there's more. What I currently do does make me money, and I do have freedom and time. I have debt, but it's not hurting me. I just want more fulfillment one day. Just want more clarity on your current life love-wise. Your last fling has been distant. I'm still doing what I was doing career-wise. I just need some messages to let me know what's going on. Cool. What advice and clarity does the universe have to offer gifts, please, with regards to her love life and security? I'm afraid I don't know where you are on the list, Avi. I haven't the faintest clue. I just go along and answer the questions as they appear. I just scroll down a little bit each time and answer the next question that I see. So, gifts. Your past interval is the Two of Swords. This talks about opportunity, the presentation of opportunity. That is the beginning of 2022. So since then, since 2022 opened, you were presented with opportunity for growth and abundance within your purpose, and intuitive development, spiritual development, and spiritual abundance. And you reached for it, you reached out to it, and you're claiming it, and you're committing to that potential. And that period where you have to invest your time and energy into that process, into that potential and that opportunity. That's about to come to a close. It's like when you plant a seed, the kind of potential that number 2 talks about is like a seed. All of the potential for the tree is in that seed, but you have to actually germinate it and then plant it and then water it and nourish it until it's big enough to secure itself. And so that's what you've been doing since 2022. Since before 2022, you were reaching out for development within your purpose, growth and abundance in your purpose, and you were nourishing that opportunity and that potential. And that period where you have to constantly invest into it is now coming to a close, and you can rest assured that it will grow into a tree regardless of what you do. It'll grow into its fullness and completion. In the present, we have a Prince of Cups for you. So this card talks about choosing to face emotional challenges that you've been avoiding in the past. So because you are dedicating all of your energy into your purpose and making sure that it would balance itself and trying to get it to a self-sustaining point, during that period you ignored certain emotions. You were like, I'm not ready at this time to deal with these feelings or these I'm not ready to deal with what's lurking under the surface. Every time you feel a strong emotional reaction, you would just push it to one side and say, no, not ready, not yet, I need to focus on this. And that's all good. But now in the present moment, that time of investing and dedicating all of your energy into your purpose is coming to a close. So in the present, you are coming to the conclusion that you have now grown enough, learned enough, and experienced enough that you can start facing those emotional challenges and finding the breakthrough that you're looking for. Allowing the emotion to be felt and expressed in your creative process, and just choosing to take all of those things off of the shelf that you'd put there. Sorrow, frustration, all of the things that you'd put on the shelf, you are now bringing down and facing them, reflecting on the time that it was triggered in you, who triggered it, how they triggered it, and why you felt triggered by it. Choosing to face it and reflect on it now so that you can make a breakthrough and express it creatively. And that's specifically in regards to this issues with relationships. So the card is saying that suppression, that putting all of your feelings on the back burner, is kind of why you've had no set boyfriend, why you've only had flings that are coming in and out. Experiencing, allowing your emotions to be experienced and expressed, and explored creatively and communicated with whoever it is that you're trying to develop a relationship with, is highly important to growing the integrity of a relationship and making sure that it lasts. If you withdraw and you hold your emotional self back and you refuse to express it or be vulnerable with it, then other people do the same and they close themselves, and you attract the frequency that you're on. So during this period where you've been focusing on your own mission and ignoring your emotional experiences, the people you've been in flings and relationships with have been on that same frequency also, focusing their time on themselves and kind of avoiding their emotional expression and communication. But now in the present, you're ready to deal with it, and you are dealing with it. Future interval is number 16 of the trumps. It's the Tower. So this is what's about to open up for you. And yeah, basically this period where you're now facing your emotional experiences and you're looking back on what triggered them and why, this process is going to make you aware of your insecurities. It's going to make you aware of things you believed about yourself that were not true, things you believed about what you were capable of that was not true. As you try and reach forward, as you try and make accomplishments, you're going to recognize the things about yourself that you've believed that have not been true, and those things are insecurities. And so what's opening up for you is the opportunity to deconstruct that identity that was based on insecurities and reform those aspects of yourself according to what you know to be true about yourself and what you know to be true about your abilities and what you're capable of. And that's extremely constructive and healthy. Going through that process, getting rid of your insecurities, if you don't do this regularly, if you don't come to this realization of your own and start working your insecurities out, then the universe smacks it into you. The universe brings an event or some kind of life circumstance that gives you no choice except to experience your insecurities, and that is painful and difficult to integrate. So if you're doing it of your own accord and testing yourself, testing to see what your insecurities are and then working them out of your own accord, then when those events come, when the universe throws those events at you that would otherwise have completely annihilated your identity, you are already aware of your insecurities, you've already accepted them, and you're already making the changes that are necessary, so the experience is not so painful, it's not so unnecessarily painful. So kudos for recognizing and identifying your insecurities, and then what's opening up for you, your future interval, is you then choosing to reconstruct your identity based on that perception and that clarity, becoming aware of your insecurities and then choosing to make the changes that are necessary. And that concludes your reading. Thank you for joining me. I encourage you to like and subscribe unless you've already done that. In that case, you're welcome to send a donation if you feel like you'd like to give some value in return. And I hope to see you again soon. Thank you very much. No, guys, Chandra, you asking, do we need to type our questions again? No, I still have your questions in my chat here. Thank you so much for the tip gifts, please. Thank you so much for sharing, Avi. I'm gonna have a look and see who's next up. Avi Morgan is next in the queue. Will me and B end up in a relationship? Or go our separate ways? Okay. Thank you so much, Chandrai. Will AV and the one referred to as B end up in a serious committed relationship? Okay, so your past interval is the two obelisks reversed. And what this card says is that you were presented with the opportunity and the potential to secure this relationship, to reach out and secure physical affection, to give and express physical affection and receive physical satisfaction and receive physical security and give of that as well, to exchange it with this this character referred to as B. And you didn't reach for that opportunity. You let it just slide on by, and that was detrimental to the possibility of a relationship here. And that's in the past, though. It's things that are behind you, something you can learn from, and it is what has brought you into this present moment where you're asking me this question. In the present, I have number 3 of the trumps for you. It is the Empress. So in the present, you're becoming aware of your feelings and how much you want this relationship and how you feel about this individual. You're realizing that you would raise a shield in his defense. You would go to his defense and defend him from slander and defend him from belittlement from others and bullying. You love him enough, even if that is not yet a romantic relationship. There is genuine love there. So you're recognizing that in yourself. You're becoming aware of that. You're realizing that you'd be prepared to sacrifice things that you want for yourself, like you want to go to the movies or you want to go out on a girls' night, and you realize that you would be prepared to put that down and cancel in order to be there for him emotionally, in order to be there for him if he needed you for whatever reason. Be there to defend him from bullying and slander if that was necessary. Basically, you're realizing that your femininity in you wants him to be your divine masculine. Your divine feminine wants to express itself to him as if he were your divine masculine. So the only advice that this card has for you is to just be sure that he is on that same level with you, and that he would be willing to put down his plans to support you, that he'd be willing to come to your defense if you needed it. That's the advice that has. It's in the present, so basically, yes. But he would put other girls before you, so then I would say to you, no, you need to give your motherly instincts a talking to and tell her to get her act in line, because you can't. There needs to be a balance between how much support you give and how much support you receive, and if there isn't, your cup is going to run dry. If you're giving more than you're receiving, your cup is going to run dry. Focus on yourself, rather. If he is not able to return the affections that you give, and he is not prepared to, if he's not prepared to meet you, then no. Don't look for that relationship. Future interval, we're still getting there. Future interval is number 8 of the trumps. And it's reversed. So there is no yes or no answer for your question. Does he really want you? It's not answering that. What it is saying is that both of you are about to go into a period of adjustment, a period of shifting and changing, basically recognizing what you want and what it needs to look like, what your life looks like, what your relationship needs to look like in order for you to be secure within it, and then making the changes to yourself and letting go of old patterns, letting go of old lifestyle, letting go of old habits that don't serve that outcome, that don't serve that balanced state of being. Anything that doesn't serve it is going to be cut away. That's what's about to open up for you. So that's for both of you. Whether you end up in a relationship or not is up to you. If you're willing to give more of yourself than you receive, not a good idea. Don't do it. But I mean, it is your choice. But either way, there's going to be a lot of shifting happening, and old patterns and old cycles and old habits and old lifestyles are going to be coming to an end in order to make room for balance and sustainability for you to become who you need to be in order to see your desires realized. And that's not going to be within your control. The universe is not going to allow you to repeat old patterns. It's literally just going to slap it down on top of you and give you no choice except to go through with the shifts and the changes. And that concludes your reading. So thank you for joining me today. Your support is invaluable. Much appreciated. Want to once again shout out to Gifts for just a shout out to Gifts. Thank you for the tip. Thank you for the gratuity and the donation. Much appreciated. You are welcome, AB Morgan. I'm sure that I'll be seeing you again and look forward to it. It's always interesting to me to see how much has changed and how people have grown each time that they come for a reading. How much has changed for them since the last one. So next in the queue is Jay No. Jay No, are you still here? Please let me know. Jay No on YouTube, asking how will my weekend be. You are up next for a reading, so let me know if you're still here. Waiting for confirmation from Jane O. Aha, you are still here. Thank you for your confirmation. What's on the table for Jane O this weekend? This week past, today, Friday, this present moment, the weekend. So, this week, you have, this week that you've been through is represented by the Six of Swords. So this talks about reaching out and communicating, making new connections with people, communicating with old connections, interacting with people that you're in a relationship with, the person you're in a relationship with, and in doing so, overcoming your previous limitations within those relationships, previous limitations with your communication skills, previous limitations with your resources and your knowledge regarding your purpose and how far towards your goals you can reach. All of those things evolving because of interacting with the people you're in relationships with, platonic and romantic, as well as forming new connections with new people and interacting with them. All of this interaction between individuals has allowed all parties involved to overcome their previous limits, particularly with regards to their communicative abilities and the goals that they're trying to work towards. Present interval is number 20 of the trumps. It's the Aeon, also known as Judgment. So today, Friday, and right now, you have been judging yourself, and not in a negative way. Basically, you're just observing your week, you're observing your month, you're observing your year, and you're saying, hey, everything has changed so much. I am a completely new person. So let me look back at who I have been and try and learn from that individual. Try and learn where that individual did well and try and learn where that individual didn't do so well. And let me have a look at other people and see what they taught me in my old cycle. What I learned from them, when I observed them in bad behavior, when I observed them in good behavior, and how did that affect me? Did it affect me positively or negatively, and why? Basically just learning from the past, re-examining all of the past, all the people, all the influences, and yourself, and how you reacted to situations so that you can learn from it, so that you can continue to become a new person within a new cycle, and really let go of all unhealthy behavior from the past and completely revolutionize the way that you apply your successful and good behaviors and activities and habits. Future interval, the weekend. 5 of Swords. So the weekend looks like you doing the best that you can, applying yourself to your maximum potential regarding your purpose. So you've identified what your heart wants, and now this weekend you will be applying your will to accomplish that desire, and that is purpose. You will have set purpose for yourself within that. And the 5 of Swords particularly talks about applying your resources and your knowledge to the best of your ability regarding that purpose. This card has a warning saying that at present, like right now, when you're doing all this judgment, you're getting excited about what's opening up for you and what's possible for you. And so you're now visualizing where you want to go and how you're going to get there. And this card wants to warn you that you might be overreaching a little bit. Based on your knowledge and based on your experiences and based on the resources you have at your disposal, you might be reaching a little bit too far. And this card, it wants to say, even though you're going to be applying your resources to their maximum ability, it wants to encourage you to take smaller steps towards that purpose. The steps you currently have in mind are a little bit more than your resources can carry you. So just be mindful to take a little bit smaller steps. Otherwise, you're going to meet with a lot of resistances, and that's just going to create frustration for you, and you're going to feel like you're not getting anywhere. You're going to be going 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. Rather take 1 step, 1 step, 1 step, so you don't go backwards again. And that concludes your reading. Thank you very much for joining me today. Your support is much appreciated, and yeah, I'm sure I'll be seeing you again. So Chandra is asking, am I after Jay? No, I have a question from a Vanessa Fullerton that is ahead of you. You will be after Vanessa, but I don't think Vanessa's still here. Vanessa Fullerton, if you're here, please let me know. You're up next for a reading. And then welcome Tammy. To get a reading, you just ask a question and that adds you to the queue automatically. I answer the questions as I see them. I just scroll down after each reading and I answer the next question in the order that they appear. First come, first serve. So the sooner you ask your question, the sooner you get into the queue. Just be mindful of this timer, because when that reaches 0, our free readings are closed. The free readings clue closes. Jay knows says, thank you for the reading and advice. You are most welcome. Calling out to Vanessa Fullerton on Facebook. You are up next for a reading. I see there is a 1 step at a time on Twitch who has joined, asking me, do I know solipsism? Never heard of it. Vanessa Fullerton is here. I have no idea where you are in the queue, Mayat. Yeah, I have no idea how many requests are ahead of you. But thank you for your patience. I'm very suspicious of this Vanessa Fullerton. I sense unhealthy intentions, greedy intentions. Is Vanessa's friend a genuine one? Dishonest intentions abounding here, Vanessa. I don't know what you're up to, but it doesn't feel savory. Your past interval is Knight of Cups. So 2022, when 2022 started, you went through a rebirth in your emotional being. The way that you interacted with emotions, the way you responded with them when negative emotions come and they inspire you to act in a certain way, the way that you respond to that emotion you've had to let go of the old way, recognizing that it's often leads to sabotaging relationships and yourself. Same thing with intense positive emotions. It inspires you to be overbearing or to love bomb, and also learning new ways to interact with that, letting old patterns and old habits die so that new, healthier ways of interacting with emotions can be born. The card is reversed, telling me that this was not something you came to of your own conclusion. It was something that your relationships, friendships, and just relationships in general forced on you through the experience. Your experiences through those relationships forced this rebirth on you. You didn't decide it of your own. Present interval is the Queen of Cups, reversed. So this card tells me that you are looking for emotional fulfillment from an external source in this present moment. You desire emotional fulfillment and emotional abundance, and you're looking to find it outside of yourself, and that is not in your interest. You can only fulfill yourself emotionally from within. If you're looking for it from an outside source, you're always going to be met with disappointment, and you're always going to feel empty, and you're always going to feel like it's someone else's fault and that you deserve or you're entitled to being fulfilled and coddled from an outside source. But the truth is that you will only find that fulfillment within. You need to fill your own cup. You need to take time out to meditate and focus on your own dreams and allow your emotions to be expressed, whether they're positive or negative. Allow them to be felt, acknowledge them, and then don't react to them. Choose to act in a creative way, in a healthy way, constructive way, regardless of what you're feeling. Express yourself, express the emotion in a poem, express your emotion in a drawing. Just do anything that is creative, even if it's difficult, rather than reacting to the emotion. The last thing that card has to say is that when you're interacting with other people, like this friend, that you don't know if this friend is genuine. So all of the negative things that you see in that friend exist in yourself. In this card, the Queen is standing over a pond and she's looking at her own reflection, but the reflection is blurry. So all of the negative things that you're perceiving in this friend are things that you don't like about yourself, and the card wants you to turn around and look at your own reflection and stop putting it on someone else. Recognize that what they're saying and what they're doing, if you don't like it, it's because you don't like that about yourself. So try and understand why those things exist in you and why you hide them, and that'll help you understand the friend and the friend's intentions. Future interval is 9 of discs reversed. So what's opening up is a period of self-reflection. You have been working on securing yourself financially, and you have been working on your health and your fitness. And so now what's opening up for you is the chance for you to look back and see how much you've grown, and to acknowledge your failures and the places where you self-sabotaged, to acknowledge your successes and your breakthroughs, and doing this in order to avoid repeating old mistakes and old patterns, and observing your successes and acknowledging them so that you can reapply those methods for breakthrough as you go into the new cycle. The card has a warning for you, saying it can be very easy to self-justify, to make up excuses as to why it was okay for you to self-sabotage, or why it was okay for you to act impulsively, or why it wasn't your fault when you failed at something, and that's an unhealthy thought train. Don't fall prey to that thought train. If you hear any thoughts that are starting to justify failures, boom, just yeet them out of your head, because they're not healthy. You must be able to take responsibility for your fuck-ups and your mistakes. Otherwise, you will inevitably repeat them. You have to take responsibility for them if you ever hope to avoid repeating them. And the same thing with your successes and breakthroughs. If you don't acknowledge and take responsibility for your success, you won't be able to repeat that method for a success in the future. And that concludes your reading, so thank you for joining us. Please send a donation if you'd like to return some value to me for the value you receive from this spread. Thank you so much. So next in the queue is Chandrai. Welcome Starseed, welcome Peggy, and one step at a time on Twitch. If you want to join the queue, you ask a question that automatically adds you to the queue, and yeah, that's how it works here. You just ask a question. Just be mindful it takes 10 minutes per reading, so you can calculate based on that how many readings I have to give away, how many more free readings I have time to give away. This timer will tell you. Amazing Starseed, you've been added to the queue, but I do feel like our queue is getting close to closing, so just be mindful of that. We've got 30 minutes on the clock, 27 minutes. I also want to let everybody know that if we're getting low, if the timer is getting low, a $2 donation will secure your spot even after the queue closes. $5 donation will skip the queue entirely. Chandrai asks, is Sorav Maitra the new guy in his family? And his family, will he and the life I get if I date him, will it bring me the life and happiness I desire? Will it be in my highest good? Hectic. Okay, so is Sorav, he's a new guy. Will he be in my highest good? And will the life that comes with that be in my highest good? Will it bring me happiness and the life that I desire? Okay, I think I've got it. I think I've made sense of the question. Will a relationship between Chandrai and Sorav be in their mutual best interest, bringing about the happiness and fulfillment that they desire? Past interval is Prince of Cups. So basically this card is saying to me that 2022 for you thus far has been you facing your challenges, specifically regarding to emotions and the way you interact with them. So in 2021, especially towards the end when you broke up with your baby daddy, there were a lot of emotions that came with that you felt you were not ready to face, that you had other things that were of higher priority than those emotions. You couldn't allow those emotions to come and separate you from whatever it is you needed to focus on, so you put them on the back burner, on the shelf. You put them just out of sight for a while. You're like, I'll deal with this later. And 2022 has been you taking those things down from the shelf one at a time and facing them, realizing that you've grown enough and experienced enough and made the progress that you wanted to see. It's now time to face those things, and that's great. It's something that's coming to a close, which implies to me that you are making the breakthroughs that you wanted to see. You're allowing those emotions to be felt. You have been allowing those emotions to be felt, looking at their root and the root cause and the root triggers, and integrating that into yourself, going back to those moments in time and conversing with yourself and bringing yourself back into the present moment, saying that what was there that created this threat is not here in the present anymore. You can let go of these feelings, allow them to come up, cry if you need to, sob if you need to, just let it go, just let it be expressed, and then doing something creative and making the breakthrough that's necessary. So really cool to see that card, love it. Moving into the present. In the present we have a Six of Swords. So this is talking to me about this relationship that you're developing between Sorav and yourself. You have goals. I know when I've done readings for you in the past, you have spoken about the purpose that you've set for yourself and the mission you're trying to accomplish for yourself in your life. And this new relationship that you've developed, that you are stepping into, this new guy, it has made you overcome previous limitations. It is helping you evolve past previous limitations. You're interacting with this new connection and him interacting with you as a new connection. It's giving you guys new experiences and new knowledge and access to new resources, which are pushing you that much closer to your individual desires and what you're trying to create collectively. So that's really healthy. It's saying to me that this relationship, pursuing this relationship in the present moment, is going to do nothing but bring you closer to the life that you want to manifest for yourself. It might not last forever, but that's okay. Right now, to go through it, it's going to be a healthy and growing experience. It's going to grow both of you. Future interval is the Seven of Discs, and this is what's about to open up for you. So as you go into this relationship, well, not even, this is about decisions. You're going to have to make some decisions about what your life needs to look like, what your satisfaction looks like, all to do with your health, your security, and your finances. Decisions regarding those things are what needs to be made as you move forward. If you want, you're asking me, is it going to be in the highest good of your future and bring about the happiness you desire? So you need to first visualize and create that future in your mind, and visualize what it looks like for you to be happy and what the life you desire looks like, financially and physically, physical security, physical satiety, financial security, career, health, fitness. All of those things need to be factored in, and then decisions need to be made with that in mind. The cards don't clearly say whether it's going to last long or not. The cards are saying that it is a healthy thing. This relationship is healthy, and that now, as a result of the evolution and the progress you're making because of the plutonic interactions you have, some decisions are going to have to be made. And firstly, before you make those decisions, first identify what your life needs to look like, because when you choose, if you choose to either make this relationship real or not, it's going to depend on what your future vision looks like. How you want your future to look like, you need to communicate with him, and then if he can support that for you, and you can support what he wants, and as you communicate what you guys actually want from life, then you will know if you can support one another in that, and that will give you the information you need to decide whether you're going into this relationship or not. And that concludes your reading. So thank you very much for joining me today. Thank you for supporting and your reoccurring viewage. It's much appreciated. The sun is now shining directly into the room. Next in my queue is Aza, who says, "Hello, how are you? Can I please ask about my person, his current thoughts and feelings?" So Aza, if you're here, please let me know. Jayoti says, sir, you're going to do my reading? Sir, will my partner Vijay talk to me in the near future? So, Jayoti, you've only just asked your question, so you've only just been added to the queue now. Aza says, thank you so much. Okay, no, I see your question is here. It's a little bit further up. It's like after Tammy. It's after Mayat. It's after a lot of people. It hasn't just been added to the queue. You've been here for a little while. Anyway, trying to find Aza's question. Oh yes, thoughts and feelings of current person. Just give me a moment, I need to close this curtain. Or just readjust it because the sun is coming in. Open this as well. Might give me some more light. Chandrai says, thank you. Thank you, Josh. Decision making gives me jitters. Hope I do well. I'm sure that you'll do just fine, Chandrai. I'm sure that you'll do just fine. What is Aza's person currently feeling and thinking towards her? So your past interval is a 10 of Cups reversed. So basically the last couple of weeks, he's been experiencing some really strong negative feelings. Things like fear, things like shame, things like guilt and resentment and pride. These things have been coming into their fullness. And it's not unhealthy. I mean, we have to allow them to express themselves fully. The card is reversed, so it's telling me that he has been suppressing them, but that suppression is coming to a close now. It's in the past, it's coming to a close. He is finding ways to express it, even if those expressions are not necessarily healthy at this time. He is finding ways to express it. So you said we have some fights from days. Don't know what that. Yeah, it's difficult for me to make sense of that. But anyway, the fighting is probably a side effect of the suppression of those feelings. So then you do something, it triggers him, and all of those feelings he's been suppressing suddenly come up, and bingo, he expresses them in a deconstructive, destructive way. But that is coming to a close. Those feelings have been coming into their fullness, and that's what's necessary. If you keep suppressing them, then when they come up, they cause damage, but at least they're coming up. Present interval is the 9 of Wands. So 9 of Wands is about self-reflection. In the present, he is thinking about his past. He's thinking about his desires and his intentions. He's thinking about where he set negative intentions in the past. He's trying to observe where he did things that that reduce the likelihood of him seeing his desires become a reality for him. Trying to learn from that past, trying to learn from his mistakes, trying to learn from his successes, so that he can apply them now in the present. So he can avoid making his mistakes from the past, avoid repeating old cycles, and can apply his methods for breakthrough and apply his methods for success in the present. He is doing this because he's seen you do it. He's seen you reflect on yourself and take responsibility for your wrongdoings, and take responsibility for your negative intentions, and also point out your successes and your supportive character traits. He has seen that in you, and it has inspired him to do the same thing and go through the same process. Future interval is the 10 of Swords reversed. So what's opening up for him is him reaping the results of old cycles. So in the past, when he was working towards his purpose, he did set negative intentions. He's doing the self-reflection now, but that doesn't change the fact that he did sow toxic seeds in the past. And that stuff is going to come full circle for him soon. It's what's opening up for him in the next couple of weeks, in the next month. It's old cycles and things that he did in the past that he's not so proud of are going to be catching up with him soon, in the next couple of weeks, in the next month or so. But the card wants to encourage him to sow new seeds, to set new intentions, to output positive value into the universe, so that when the cycle comes around again, it will be healthy harvest, so that he can create a new cycle for himself. The old cycle is still about to come to a close. It hasn't finished, it hasn't completely closed yet. He's learning things in the present that can help him break his old patterns, but the old patterns have not completed themselves yet, and they're about to. That's what's opening up for him, is the completion of old patterns and old cycles. And the card wants to encourage him to make changes, make breakthroughs, and apply new methods, and sow new seeds, and make new investments of time and energy when the old cycle comes full circle, to make those new investments and plant those new seeds, so that a new cycle begins. And that concludes your reading. So thank you for joining. Please like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. You can share, and donations are also very much appreciated. Thank you so much. You are most welcome. Mayat No on Facebook. Are you still here? Yep, this is you're next in line, so you're basically getting the last reading. The last free reading of the day goes to Mayat No, asking for a reading about education and love. Cool. So as I'm understanding, you want clarity as to where to go with your studies, and you want to know what's opening up for you in your love life and relationships, I figure. What advice does the universe have for Mayat regarding education and study? And what is opening up in regards to his or her love life? That's absolutely terrible. The entire candle holder caught on fire. So past interval here is the Ace of Wands. This is about communicating your intentions and your passion, what the things you're passionate about and the things you desire from your life. This was something that you did when it came to choosing your studies and where you're going with it and what you hope to accomplish. You expressed your intentions, you expressed your desires, and you expressed what you were passionate about, and therefore people gave you the advice that you needed and the support that you needed in order to make that, in order to push you towards that destination. And it's a positive card. It's also talking about you expressing the fact that you're single and looking for a relationship, or that you're in a relationship, just expressing your passions about relationship and love and what you're looking for in relationship and what you desire from it and what your intentions are when you're in a relationship and where you're going with that relationship. Also healthy, period of communication is very important. Present interval is another ace, also about communication. This one is in regards to purpose and intuition. Ace of Swords. So in this present moment, you're expressing your intuitive nudges. You're communicating about the things that you've learned in your studies. You're communicating about intuitive nudges when you feel them, communicating them with your partner or your prospective lovers, or just friends in general. When you feel an intuitive nudge and you believe it's intuition and you have an idea of what it's telling you needs to be done or needs to be avoided, you're communicating it with people that you trust. You're also learning new things every day and then talking about it with people and really like bouncing ideas off of people. That's also really cool energy, really cool constructive thought energy. Swords energy is about thought. You've got goals that you've set for yourself, and you're communicating those goals to people and talking about how you check off goals daily, etc. It's a lot of communicative cards here. Aces are very communicative. One is all about giving thoughts their very first physical form by speaking it aloud or writing it down. And that's what's going on in your present. You're making notes, bouncing ideas off of people, debating, expressing your intuitive nudges, talking about your goals and how well you're doing or how well you're not doing, etc. Future interval is the Five of Wands reversed. So this card is what's about to open up for you, and it's kind of a warning. It's saying that as you move forward now, where you're going to be going from here regarding your studies and your love life, is you just applying all of your experience and your knowledge to its maximum capacity in order to see what you're passionate about become real for you, in order to see your desires manifest, in order to see your intentions find completion. And so this warning is that it's just to remember to take small steps. Don't try and leap further than you can based on your experiences and knowledge, because that'll just you'll be met with resistance if you try and reach further than what your knowledge. Every moment that you live, you have a limit on how much you know and how much you've experienced, and so if you try and reach further than that knowledge or that those experiences can carry you and can take you, you'll be met with resistances, and it'll feel like you're taking 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. So rather take smaller steps, 1 step at a time, smaller little 1 steps, based on how much you know and how much you've experienced and how much knowledge and resources you have at your disposal. Apply them to the maximum, but don't try and reach further than you can grasp. That's basically what that card has to say. And it's your reading concluded. There isn't much here regarding your love life. It's mostly to do with your studies and your desires and your objectives. But that kind of does happen when you ask more than one question. The tarot answers the one question, the one that it feels is most important to you and your growth. So there are 4 minutes on the clock. Let me see who is next in the queue. Welcome Kylie, welcome Feifei, welcome Dov. What's that one? Dovnch. Welcome guys. If you guys would like a reading, a $2 donation minimum secures you a spot, as we only have 4 minutes on the clock and then free readings end. So you're most welcome to get a reading. You're asking me, can I have a reading? Can I have a reading? If you would like a reading, please send a $2 donation minimum and you will get a reading. $2 tip minimum, guys, for reading. My free readings queue is basically closed. Tammy Little, are you still here in the chat? Tammy Little, you still here in the chat? I guess not. Peggy Air Eggmans, are you still here in the chat? Yeah, Kylie, you're gonna have to join me earlier on in the stream. If you get me at the end of the stream, then my free readings are all expended and claimed. You have to join earlier or send a donation. I do this Sundays, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Starseed on YouTube, are you still here? One step at a time, 01, are you still here? That's right. Fei, thank you very much. I am now checking my notifications. Bingo, thank you so much. That secures you a spot. It prioritizes you, in fact. But the queue is, yeah, the queue did just close. So thank you so much. You getting the next reading, Fei. Thank you very much for your gratuity, for your tip, for your donation. It's highly, highly appreciated. Thank you. Sorry, one step at a time. I was calling you in order to give away the last free reading of the day to you, but yeah, I just got a priority tip, so free readings are over. Sorry about that. So Fei, I'm scrolling through the chat now to see what your question was and where you were on the queue. Okay. Does Samo consider me as his blessing and light of his life? Does Samo recognize the blessing which Fei has brought into his life, and does he recognize that she is, in fact, the light of his life. Past interval, present interval, future interval. Two of Swords reversed. So this card is saying to me that when he met you and when you guys went into this relationship or marriage, whatever it is, whatever you consider it to be, he reached for the potential. It was potential that was made apparent. You were there to be the potential, to be his light of his life, and there as the greatest blessing that could possibly happen to him. And he reached for it and tried to grab a hold of that potential and see it realized and see that abundance become present in his life. But he wasn't able to stay committed to it. He didn't have that an enduring spirit that was necessary in order to see that abundance realized. So it's kind of like planting a seed and then letting it die, not watering it. That's kind of what happened here. He reached out for this relationship and then he neglected it from there on. He made sure it was secure and then started neglecting it. So yes, he does recognize, the card is saying he does recognize that you are a great blessing and that you are the light of his life, but he doesn't have it in him to commit or to nourish the relationship the way that he could, or he hasn't in the past had that capacity. This card is in the past, so it's something that is coming to a close. It's something that he's choosing to face and perhaps recommit to the relationship and recommit to expressing how much appreciation he actually has in his heart for you. We'll see what's going on in the present. A 10 of Swords. So he has had a mission and a goal, and he justifies neglecting the relationship because he was pursuing that mission. And now in the present moment, that mission or that goal that he had set is finally reaching completion. It's coming full circle. So as he's reaping the rewards and the benefits and the returns of everything that he's been working on, since in all this time that he's been neglecting the relationship, he's been working on something, and that's how he justified neglecting the relationship. It's not justifiable, it's not excusable, but he did justify it to himself. In the present, that is coming to a conclusion, so he's now looking at the other purposes in his life, his relationships and his other missions and other priorities, and he's trying to find ways that he can sow seeds that he can commit to and recommit to old seeds that he had been neglecting. That's what's going on for him in the present. He's trying to find ways that he can better express his appreciation in the present, because whatever it was that he was using as justification for neglect, that is now coming to a close. So now he doesn't have any more excuses as to why he's neglecting the relationship or whatever other priorities he's been neglecting. Future interval is number 19 of the trumps. It's reversed. So this card wants to say to you that you are a great source of energy in your world and your universe, and that's talking to you, Feifei. You are like the sun in your universe. So the sun in our solar system, all of our planets orbit the sun. They are all within its gravitational field. They all receive energy from the sun, and our planet Earth receives its potential to give forth abundance and life from the sun. And similarly, you are like that in your reality. In your little universe, you are the sun. The people in your life orbit you. They're all within your gravitational field, within your security. And you, by existing authentically, you give them and your environment its potential to bring forth abundance and harvest into your life. So this card just has a warning. It wants to say to you that what's opening up for you is that you might be tempted to give more value. There are certain people in your life, particularly Samo, who might start expressing that you're not enough, but that's bullshit. You are enough. You existing authentically is enough to make sure that your environment consistently brings forth value. But there might be people, and possibly Samu, who make you feel like you could be doing more, make you feel like you're not giving enough, and this might encourage you or tempt you to start giving more value than you can actually afford to give, and that will deplete your cup. If you deplete your cup, then your environment will stop receiving energy from you, and it will stop producing abundance for you. So just be mindful of that going forward. Don't let anybody convince you that you need to give more than you're giving. What you are able to give from yourself authentically, and you existing authentically, is how you secure your environment and how you secure those within it. Trying to give any more than that will drain your cup and will leave the environment wanting. So yeah, that concludes your reading. So thank you very much for supporting me. Thank you very much for the gratuity you sent and the donation. The cards, if I have to bring it down to a basic overview, the cards are saying yes, he does recognize that you are a blessing to him and that you are the light of his life. However, he has been justifying neglecting you because of other things that he's been working on, but those things are now coming to a close, so he's got nothing to justify himself with anymore. And he might start expecting you to give more of yourself going forward, but you need to pay no attention to that because you are enough as you are. There's nothing that you need to change. You don't need to give any more than you are currently giving. Your natural, authentic existence is good enough. And yes, you're most welcome. I'm sure that I'll be seeing you again. Once again, thank you so much for your support. And letting everyone else know who's watching the stream, I will stick around as long as you guys are prepared to send me tips. $2 minimum for a reading. When I offer these readings privately, they're $6. A 3-card reading is a $6. It's a $6 offering. So the $5 security priority reading and the $2 security reading, that's really affordable. That's really reasonable. It's a steal basically. So yeah, I'll stick around as long as you guys are prepared to support me, and I'll continue to give readings. Otherwise, I'm gonna go and end the stream. Okay, cool. Wishing everybody abundance and wealth beyond measure. Thank you to everyone who supported by liking and following and sharing, and all of you who sent tips. So much appreciation and thanks. I will see you guys on Sunday. Peace upon you all.